go to YouTube and it pops right up. Not sure though. Should have gone live though. How do I see my live chat? Surely there's a way. Live now. So hopefully I just go to YouTube. I guess we could just watch this stream on YouTube here. Oh, you know what I need to do? I need to turn scaling off. Do that. There we go. That's not too bad. Feel like that. And then, sorry guys, we're still getting all set up. I've not really streamed to YouTube before, but hopefully we will get it all figured out. All right, I think we're good. Let me know in the comments, guys, if the stream's messed up in any way. Today we're gonna be looking at the Porsche RSR, and hopefully we'll get it all dialed in. There is some latency lag between my YouTube stream and the thing, so hopefully the chat is not too incredibly slow. I would feel like there's a YouTube stream dashboard. Maybe, let me see. We decided to start streaming to YouTube instead of Twitch, so that way all my videos are shown on the channel. That way people can tune into them later. Let's see. Let's see something. Okay. I think I found the actual dashboard, so let's give that a go. Hopefully it's not too far behind, but we are going to go ahead and set the opponent number to 0. So a lot of times I like to do the setup work on a private like custom race, because the tires always start warm, so you can always restart, which is really good. But we got to make sure in PC2 we got it set up. We're going to go ahead and set up the next car params. So on Project Cars 2, we have all the position, motion ratios, all that. So might as well use them. So we're going to find the GTE, not the Ford, but the Porsche 911. And now it's locked and loaded. Let's go ahead and load into the track. Doing the tune today at Barcelona. One of my favorite tracks. But we gotta put the gloves on for the suede. Hopefully you guys like the view from up top. Trying to give you guys a cool bird's eye view of the setup here. Kind of see what it looks like on my screen. We're just gonna load up the loose setup. A lot of the times these setups, they'd have very good dampener setup, so we'll just give it a go, see what we can feel, and then let's let it rip. Don't know if you guys can see it, but I have a dash, and you can see the LEDs light up. Pretty cool. Then a little bit of rear wheel lock on that braking zone there. Not too bad though. Bit of unlocking on the diff. wasn't gonna track me there. It went pretty far out. Taking this corner in second gear. Sure what the track limits is there for, but keep on pressing on. So I always like to do about 2 or 3 different runs, just to allow the temperatures of the tires to come up to a normal position. And that diff is unlocking there. Hey, so what's wrong with the stream, Billy? I'm trying to stream on a second PC, so there might be some performance that. Yeah. Okay. Let me finish this lap so we can have some data, and then I'm gonna play with the settings just a little bit. Okay. But thanks for letting me know. It's weird. It's got to be something with the NDI tools because it says it's running at 60 frames per second. Does the webcam look laggy, or is it just the gameplay? Yeah, something with the NDI tools. That's weird. Okay, let's pause the game real quick. I'm just gonna take a quick look, see if we can figure something out over here. Yeah, that's really weird that the NDI is lagging like that. I wonder if there's anything that we can adjust here. Hey, 1 second, guys. Sorry, guys. The wife's like freaking out. All right. Let's see. So I'm using NDI tools. Maybe something with that. It's got like a sync. I wonder if that's what's happening, because it looks to me like the webcam's not lagging. So I don't know if it's the encoder, because the Steam OBS says it's fine. But we did play with that setting, so let's see if that makes a difference here. All right, let's see. Yeah, I figure this might be a little bit. No, it looks like it's still jumping on. All right, what's going on here? Oh, that's for the video camera. All right, you know what? I think it's the NDI tool, so let's drop it down just a little bit. I'm gonna drop it, the capture settings, the frame rate. I'm gonna limit it to like 50. If that helps it. Let me know if it might not be as smooth, but it looks like it's warping or something. So let's see. Let me do one more lap and see how it looks. Maybe it was just the NDI kind of suffering, you know? How's that? Is that looking a little bit smoother? It's hard for me to keep watching it, but it looks like a lot better to me. And it doesn't look too like laggy on the screen. It's at 50 frames per second instead of 60, but that's what I get for looking. Sorry, I keep looking at the screen to see if it's lagging. Okay, I think that's good. Alright, let's go ahead and resume. Let me put my other back on, and then let's look at the data. We're not going to look at that last lap, obvious reasons, but let's take a quick peep. So we're just going to go ahead and restart the session. Should put us back in the pits. Let's go ahead and edit this setup. Okay, cool. Hey, what's up, Technology EP? Welcome to the stream, bud. All right, so first thing we got to do is set up the springs and, you know, those kind of things. So let's look at the suspension. The spring rate is 300 newtons per millimeter up front. In the back, it is 220. Ride height is 64. 73. And if you guys have any questions about this, let me know. We're YouTube, so we don't need to look up any of the motion ratios or anything like that. It's pretty nice that the devs gave us the data so that we can just type her in. Come to dampers. So it's 20,000, 18,700, 7,300, and then 5,950. Now we're gonna go to the rear, so 12,500, 18,700, and hopefully this is one of the last times we have to do this, because this kind of sucks when you do it for the first time. There's just a lot of data to enter, but it's really important to get these car parameters correct, because it's gonna do all of our math for us, so that we don't have to do it ourselves, which is really nice. The bump stop is 25 up front and 30 on the back. Gearing, we're not going to enter for now. No reason to, because we're not going to be doing any gearing with this setup just yet. We might dial it in just a little bit. Where is the... Okay, 12.5. And then these cars usually have 540 degrees of lock. And we're not really going to test it because I'm not trying to get to that level. We're going to call it this, but instead of the Ford, it is the Porsche. If you haven't checked out the Ford tune, check out our Discord. I'll put a link in the description after this stream is done. I've done a Ford GTE tune. It's pretty good. I really like it. It's pretty stable, but we're just moving through the class. So now that all of our parameters are input in here correctly, let's go and look at the data. So first thing I like to look at is going to be... and I'm going to delete this run one right here. Just click the delete button. That's going to get rid of it because that was a kind of a crappy lap that I was doing at the end there. First thing we're going to look at is the camber pressures versus temp. So what I'm really trying to do with the cambers and the pressures here is get the cambers up to about 5 to 6 degrees. So our front left and front right are there. Our rear right is a little over 7. It's at 8 right now. And the rear left's at 2. So it needs a lot more camber in that rear left. Looking at the bottom here at the pressure, you can see we're above the 0 line. The 0 line is really where we want to be. Anything above that is going to be overpressured. Anything below that is under pressure. So let's bring the pressure on the front left, the rear right, and the front right. So everything but the rear left down 1 click. So everything but the rear left, I said. So let's do 1 click here. Let's do 2 clicks. All right, and that should be enough. And then the rear left needs a little bit more pressure. So let's just bring it up to 20.2. All right, now let's get our cambers right. So like I was saying, the rear right has a little bit too much camber. Again, it's above that 7 or 8 mark like we were saying. It's at 8 right now instead of 7. So the rear right, let's bring down just a little bit. And when I say bring down camber, I mean less negative. More negative camber is going to be a higher number on that chart. And what this is doing is trying to find a nice, good temperature gradient profile across that tire. And then the rear left needs a lot more camber. So that's going to be this one. Oh, and then let's bring it up to about 3.3. Let's go ahead and save this. Getting some like weird lag on my computer. It's like the keyboard's messed up or something. Let me I know the other day it was doing this too, and I picked it up and it's fine. After this stream is done, I'll be sure to drop the setup in the menu for you guys. In the Discord, sorry. That way you guys can download it, check it out after. And you guys check this out at racingsimtools.com. All right. One other thing I like to do after adjusting the tires is at the very first is just looking at the damper histograms. One second. What is that? Not going away. That's kind of annoying. Reason being is they're really messed up in project cars too, for lack of a better words. So I like to adjust it. So first things first, let's go to the comparison view. Comparison view is really nice because in a normal view you get these kind of per wheel breakouts, nice, but a lot of times you want to look at per wheel over each other. So you see here, this kind of gives us, if we're looking for a simulator where we're at, so you can see this a little bit soft compared to the other ones. And typically the front will be a little bit higher, but yeah, we need to bring this rear up just a little bit, and you can do that with the dampening rate. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna come in here and increase the slow. We're gonna go asymmetrical. We're gonna increase the slow bump and the slow rebound equal amounts on this left side. And the reason being is it's pretty symmetric. We're just trying to increase the overall level of dampening. So we're gonna increase it by three clicks each. And then we are gonna give it another go. One other thing that we're going to look at too real quick is the high speed dampening. So the best way to do this is to look at some areas where you're in high speed. So you can do that by looking at the damper speed chart. This third from the top you can see is our speeds, and anything above like 100 is going to be, you know, where the high speed is really going to be kicking in, and that's usually where you're going to be in your curb range. So when we're looking at these values, what we're really looking for is making sure that the front or the rear rebound speeds are pretty close to one another. If the rear rebound speed is slower than the front, the car's going to be unstable. It's going to pick up a lot of oversteer when you go over bumps. And if the rear is have a higher rebound speed, you're going to have a little more stableness over curves. It's going to push out more in the curbs, which is pretty nice. This one's hard to see because it's over 500, but let's look at this one. So you can see right here, it's a right-hand turn, so we're going to be mostly looking at the left-hand tires. Left-hand front is red, left-hand rear is yellow. And you can see that the under here, let me make this full screen so you guys can see it a little bit better. You can see that these peaks down here in the red are much lower or higher rebound speed than the yellow marks. And so that means our rear rebound speed is slower, which means the car's going to be a little bit unstable over curbs or in high speed regions. So what we could do is we could decrease we could increase high speed rebound dampening, or we decrease rear high speed dampening. For this example, I think I'm going to increase it. So fast rebound, we're going to go up quite a bit. So let's just go up, I don't know, 3 clicks. And then same thing here. And then that's probably enough setup changes for one go. You don't want to make too many adjustments all in one go because you'll be kind of chasing your tail, which is never good. But let's go ahead and do this. All right, we got the setup locked and loaded. We're all set up. All right, and we're off for some more test laps. So here at Barcelona, you want to kind of get on this inside curve as much as possible. Ooh, got a little bit of a track cut there. All right, so Billy Goat Boy says, does Race Room license have the same car selection when it comes to putting in the information about the car, if you know where I'm getting at? So yeah, so that's a good question. So you can see me use the drop down in Project Cars 2 because the devs gave us that data. The things like the motion ratios, the default setup, things like that. In Race Room, we don't have that. Sector 3, Alex is working with us to help us get that data. He can't give us everything though, obviously for NDA reasons. So we don't have things like the motion ratios. So what we're doing is in the Discord, we're trying to outsource it, try to get as many people to help out. But we're trying to get that data so that the idea is we'll build a database of it and then we'll add it to the tool. That way you guys don't have to calculate it every time you guys do a setup. You just do, we'll have a kind of a drop down list for Race Room. And you guys can do it. Right now we have the spreadsheets that kind of help you get, find out how to find that information. But obviously later down the road, if we could get enough people to help out, we would like to add that data to a database of sorts. Because it does kind of suck having to, anytime you pick up a new car, figure out what it is. The hard thing is this, we support so many games, it's hard for us to program, each sim has like 100 cars, do 100 cars. That takes a long time. So we're trying to outsource it. We're going way too deep in the braking zone here. All right, our tires are probably up to 10 now, so we're going to start pushing. Car is feeling pretty good so far. A little bit of off throttle unlocking. You can actually see it on my dash. You'll see the LEDs light up for a side that's slipping. On the brakes, when I'm not on throttle, when the differential unlocks, it's going to be a little bit unstable. So I think I'm going to go a little bit more locking in the coast ramp. So you can see right there, it's unlocked on me. Yeah, car feels absolutely planted over those curves that we tuned that high speed for, so. Been a little bit too wide. Really important to get on throttle at that turn as soon as possible. It's a long straight here, so. All right, this is gonna be a full running lap right here. And we're gonna try to push it. This car has like no rear downforce. I can just leave it planted like the whole time. That's crazy.
Fastest first sector you've done so far. Great job.
All right, we set a personal best lap time right there. Yeah, in Project Cars 2, they have a pretty forgiving tire model. It's got a lot of grip even after past maximum grip slip angle. Ooh, sideways there. Gonna get a track cut for going wide. Yeah, I think project cars too. Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what's going on. I could turn it down to 30. It might just be because of the settings though. You know what I'm gonna try, guys? I'm gonna limit the video, my gameplay to like 60 frames per second. Let's see if that fixes it, because right now it's uncapped, and that might be kind of explaining what's going on. So let me stop this real quick, guys. I have a tool where I can limit my frame rate, so let's try that, and then hopefully that will help with the stutters a lot. So right now it's set at 100. Let's just set it to 75, and that should go. So hopefully that will kind of smooth it up just a little bit. A little bit of unlocking there. So we looked into supporting RF2, but the problem with RF2 is they don't have a data output by default. So most of these games, they have a way to get data from the game, and usually it's a shared memory file, or it's a UDP network broadcast. RF2 doesn't. However, there is the way to get data, but you have to make a plugin. So we haven't had the opportunity to make any kind of plugins, but it might be something we're looking forward. It's a little bit harder to add that game than any of the other games, so we're kind of hesitant to do it because there's so many other things that we're working on right now. We're trying to bring back the setup database. We're trying to start selling these dashes, which are really cool. But it's a lot going on, and it's just kind of like an older game, so we haven't really known of too many people that want that license, but it's definitely still on our radar. I know it is RF2 is a great game, so it would be definitely a good thing to add for sure. All right. All right, so that is, I don't even know what lap number that was. I know it was more than 3 or 4. So let's go ahead and look at the data now. So remember what we did. So we changed the low speed dampening to that rear left tire. We changed our temperatures, our cambers, and we changed our pressures. So let's see what's going on here now after those adjustments. So you can see we have a little bit of adjustment here. We got the rear left up to 4. It was at 2 before. The front left is a little low. Probably need a little bit more camber there. Front right is pretty, spot on. Maybe come down one more click. Tire pressures are pretty good. They're pretty even, but maybe just a little bit high. They're not too bad though. Anything below 1 is acceptable. Once you get above 1, it starts to get a little bit too much. So right now, let's just play with the cambers. So what we need to do is the rear left tire needs a little bit more camber still. I would really like to get that into the 6 range. So we're just going to restart. We're going to go back to the pits. So we need a little bit more camber still. So that's going to be what? The rear left tire. So we went from 2 to 4, so doubling it was like a 3 or 4 click. So let's go 3 or 4 again. All right. So we're at 3.3. The rear right is pretty much perfect. The front right is still a little bit high, so let's come down on that one. Let's go to 3.0. And the front left is pretty good at 6. Yeah, so that's what I'm going to be trying to do, guys. I'm going to start. The reason I switched from Twitch to YouTube is YouTube saves their videos afterwards, and I know a lot of people like to reference the videos. So I'm going to start streaming to YouTube more often. But yeah, that's the kind of idea, is just kind of do what I would do normally off stream, but on stream. So you guys have questions or just kind of want to pick my brain. I'm just kind of talking aloud and while I do stuff. So hopefully we can keep doing it. But yeah, we're going to keep doing it. So The rear left, believe I set the cambers. The front right we brought down just a little bit. The front left needs to come up just a little bit still. So let's go up to 4 degrees. And that should be good there. So now let's look at the comparison view. Boom. Look at those damper histograms, guys. Look at that. So this is what we had before. You can see that yellow, which is the rear left, a little bit on the low side. And here is now after we increase the dampening on that rear left tire. Look at how grouped up that is. So much better. And the car did feel a lot better going through there as well. We have a little bit of a rebound bias. That you can tell that by that negative bar right here. It's a little bit taller than the first bump bar. But that's okay. A little bit of a rebound bias in the low speed on your rear axle is going to give you a little bit more turn in when you're trail braking. And that's going to help you just get the car pointed where you want. So a little bit of a rear rebound bias is okay. That's actually what we run on real life cars too. Drivers typically like it to have a little bit more oversteer into the turn and then kind of go more neutral mid corner. So that's kind of how we set up the cars. But the dampers are actually looking pretty darn good now. I don't know if I'm going to really have to make any much damper adjustments in the future on this car. Most of the cars in Project Cars 2 are really messed up, so they take a lot of work. But the RSR is typically one of the more favorite cars in Project Cars 2. And I think it's because they did the dampeners right on the default setup. It makes a huge difference. One thing though that we were talking about before is the dampener speeds, the high speed section. It did feel a lot better through there. And remember what we did to help correct that is we basically increased the front high speed rebound, which is gonna bring these values, these red values, a little bit down. So you can see here they're a little bit on the high side. It's kind of hard to see there. Let me zoom in a little bit more. So you can see these values are a little bit higher here. Let's see. Yeah, right here's a little bit better of a view. What do you think? Yeah, so you can see here the red values are a little bit lower. Again, anything below the 0 is going to be your rebound speeds. So the front has a higher negative peak, which means it's going to be a higher rebound speed, which means a little bit of oversteer over bumps. Now, after we, where is it at? Shit, I zoomed in. So what we did is we increased that front high-speed rebound, and now these red peaks are pretty much about the same height as the yellow peaks now, which means it's going to be very neutral over everything. So a very stable car. You don't want to go too much because then the car's going to like really kind of push out if you hit a bump, which is not very good. So you want to kind of get a good idea. So John says, hey there, everyone. I had to reinstall RF2. Now when the workshop content starts downloading, it freezes the game after 6 to 7 items, and it seems to make copies of the same version. So maybe somebody can chat can help you, John, but unfortunately, I've never played RF2, so I can't really help you. You might want to check in our Discord, too. We have, I think, 2,000 users in the Discord now, so it's a lot of people play different games. Maybe they have an idea. One thing, though, is there is a bump in turn 3 that can really the car, and you can see it right here in the data, which is so cool that you can see that. And one thing is you really want to get the high-speed dampening right for there, because turn 3 is a very high-speed corner, and you can actually see it if we come to the track, and you can see here. So under track states is going to kind of let you know kind of what kind of corner everything is, and it's doing that based on what the lateral and longitudinal G's are doing, and you know your speed. So it's kind of gating the signal. You can see that turn 3 is green, which is a high speed corner. If we look at how fast it is, it's right around 170, 180 kilometers per hour. So fairly quick. But the big thing is we're typically pulling a lot of G's through there. So see a little bit of red there. It's like probably right in the 3G range, which is quite a bit for a GTE car. But going back to the high speed, because that's what we were really interested about, looking at there, is again, we're looking for that ratio between the front and rear high speed values, the rebound values anyways. The rebound is more for the driver's comfort. Bump is more for the tires. If you're trying to get more heat in the tires, maybe go a little stiffer at the bump. But rebound's really for the driver. So over that, we're looking at the rebound speeds here. So the yellow and green, which is our rear axle, is a more negative value, meaning it's a higher rebound speed. So it's gonna than the front, which is gonna give us more stability over the corners. Same on the back. So the high speed tuning is looking really good. I don't know if I'm gonna need to make any really more adjustments with the car in that regard. One thing we've kind of been neglecting now that our spring and dampeners are kind of set is the wheel slip, and more importantly, the differential and the brake bias. So let's look at some of these turns because I'm getting a fair amount of braking unlocking. And you can look through here. It's this graph, this third graph. This is the differential. So it's looking at the driven wheels speed difference between left and right tire. If they're rotating at the same velocity, it means the axle is locked and the torque is being sent to the outside tire, the majority of the torque. If it's unlocked, it means these velocities are different. You'll see a peak, and that means you're limited, torque limited by the inside tire, which of course is the less loaded tire, which means you're really going to be screwing yourself on power. So just kind of what I like to do here is go through the different data sets to see if there's like a common theme through here. Our fastest lap, we didn't have many peaks, and that's just because we were driving pretty well. But you can see here's a really big one, and I was seeing it on the LEDs quite a bit. So this is turn 1. Turn 1 is a heavy braking zone. It's after a long straight, and another thing is really bumpy. So bumpiness is going to be a prime candidate for getting the axle unlocked, and you can actually see it does unlock here at the end of the braking zone. So if the axle unlocks, it means there's no resistance to turning, which is good mid-corner because it will reduce understeer. But corner entry, it can be really unsettling because you can basically have a little bit of oversteer going into the turns right there. So typically like it to be locked at that portion. So we need a little bit more coast ramp there. Let's see, is there any other big moments? Yeah, we have one right here, which is through the chicane. Little bit of an unlock there. It's on braking because we're braking here. If it was on throttle, that's how we would know if it was the acceleration lock or the power ramp angle. Right now we're just looking at coast ramp angle because both of these peaks that we had were on the brakes. Let's look through here. Still a little bit of unlocking T1. You can see it right here. Little bit of unlocking here T3. So I think we definitely need to play with the diff. If you don't like looking at this screen, but you kind of want to see what your differential is doing, you can always come to track and come here to diff locking. So diff locking is the same graph, but on a track form. So it makes it a little bit easier to see what's going on. So here's that corner where we were having a lot of unlocking here, which is right here and right here. A little bit of yellow is okay. So a little bit of yellow mid corner is okay. So like right here, that's good. We would want that because that means the car is going to have really good turn-in properties mid corner. We don't want to see it on corner exit though. That's going to add a lot of understeer to the car. So we don't want to see it anywhere right here because we're on throttle at that point. We're not really seeing it anywhere else. So we're pretty much only going to need to adjust the coast ramp angle. That's why an LSD differential is so amazing because you can affect on throttle or off throttle differently. You can give a little bit more locking or unlocking on coast, a little more or a little less locking on power. So it's really, really powerful tool to use if you know what you're doing. One other thing too is we want to look at the brake bias. So brake bias is want to make sure that we have the same amount of locking on the front and rear tires. So if we scroll over to here to mid corner, you can see the front wheel slip is about 11%. The rear is about 7%. So a little bit more locking up front, which is okay. That means the car will be a little bit stable, maybe a little bit of understeer. What you don't want is more locking on the rear tire than on the front tire. So turn 2, about 9, about 6%, 5%. So not too bad of a gap there. Let's look at another end of the braking zone. So end of the back straight. That's another really big one. So 9 to 5%. So a little bit more locking on the front than the rear. So what we'll probably do is bring that brake bias down by like 2% probably. And that should bring it back just a little bit more. So basically, in conclusion, we need to bring the brake bias back, and then we need to add a little bit more coast ramp angle. And I believe we already adjusted the cambers, so we're good there. So brake bias, let's not do 2, or actually let's do 2. Let's see what happens. And then the differential, we're gonna add a little bit more coast ramp angle here. So, and I can't see because my dash is in the way. So at 45, that's a lot of unlocking, and we saw it in the data. So let's go down to about 30. That should be a fair amount of good locking there. It's gonna make a huge difference. So we're gonna hit start, and then let's get some more test laps. A little bit of wheel spin on the exit there. Again, we're gonna try to do about 3 laps. I think I'm gonna lock this frame down just a little bit more, guys. Let's turn it down to like 60. I think that's gonna help with the frames for you guys. I see what's going on. I'm hitting like 90-something% computer utilization, so I bet that's what's going on. Okay, got you, Technology EP. So Technology EP says he can't see the data labels because the webcam. So I will try to make sure to keep it all on the screen. I got to figure out a better way with the stream. I might have to get a stream deck so I can cycle different views. Oh no, don't be sorry, John. It's all good, bud. Man, this car's feeling really good, guys. Really abuse these corners with the high speed dampening setup just right. Alright, let's see what's like a little bit of lock there. Not bad though. No unlocking, just a little bit of rear brake lock up, so no, not a diff issue though. Man, this car is very pointy. Oh, I got not a stop and go, but a penalty. And just be mindful, guys, we're going to be doing this with all the other sims too. We're just doing Project Cars 2 because for the new DAC, I'm going to be selling the one I was working on, and I said, hey, let's be a while. This little dash is amazing. I love having the LEDs for the wheel lock. It is really, really handy. It's a little bit unlocking there, but that's what I want because that's a very tight hairpin. Alright, I don't know even what lap I'm on, but I'm just enjoying driving the car. Let's just do a few more, get a little bit more data. second. Let me get on the back straight, and then I'll read your comment, Billy. I'm really bad about reading chat and driving. I need to figure out a better way to see the chat on screen. Right now it's on my little monitor, but it's kind of a small text font, so it's kind of hard to see. So Billy says, if you make an adjustment and it doesn't work or make things worse, what would you do? Well, the first thing I would do is try to think about why it made it worse. So if I make an adjustment, it's always because there's something I'm thinking about or trying to resolve. And if it doesn't work out the way it should, then that means there's probably the initial reason I thought I would need that isn't the case. So I try to go back through the data and try to figure out why it didn't work.
So far today. Great job.
Typically, I'll find something else that I didn't consider, so I'll go back to the original setting that I had for that setting, and then address the new issue that I think it is. But that's actually something that happens quite a bit because cars are really complex, and if we all understood them first go, we would all be engineers for Formula One. So every car is a puzzle, though, which is kind of cool. All right, let's do one more lap.
Nice one. That's your fastest lap so far.
But that's why I like tuning cars, because every car is different, every track is different, and then on top of that, every driver is different. So doing setup work can be a pretty big task, but it's something new every time, which is really cool. I'm always learning stuff, even in real life. I'll have to, so I think we're going to start doing a video blog of me in real life, some of the car setup work I do. We're going to have to post some of that data so you guys can see how realistic these simulators are getting to the real life thing. I think some of you guys that really know how to read the damper histograms and some of the other graphs in Racing Sim Tool would really recognize some of the same things that we talk about in these videos and in the manual in the real life data, which is kind of cool, I think. Man, this car is so easy to drive right now. Hopefully the stream is really smooth now that I've limited the
That's your
frames.
best sector 2 time so far today. Great stuff.
A little bit on the curve there. Woo. Might even do some driver analysis today. I'm just really enjoying this car right now. Ooh, I'm gonna get a cut. Yeah, I knew that was coming. There's a little bit over the line on the exit. Alright, let's see what the data looks like now, guys. So that was this lap. And look at our lap times. Like, this isn't a track that, I'm new to. I've done it millions of times in different simulators. But we started on the default at a 47.1. The last adjustment, we dropped to about a 44.6, it looks like. And after the last round adjustment, we're down to 44s. And a little bit of that is just me kind of getting more comfortable with the car because, again, we're getting used to it. But, man, it's making such a big difference. I can feel it in the setup of the car. It's feeling just really, really dialed in. But one thing we want to look at is, so one of the things that we did was adjust the differential. So let's look at the difference. And the easiest way to probably do that is looking at the track map. So let's find the worst case scenario that we had here. So you see how much unlocking we had in this braking zone and a little bit here. Look at it now. Still have a little bit of unlocking. Again, we move that brake bias back, but nowhere near as bad. And then we have a little bit of unlocking mid-corner here, which is okay because we're not on the throttle at this point. I think we got on throttle right around here, so that's fine. So car is feeling much, much better with that differential change. We're not getting oversteer going into the corners, which is really good. We are getting, it looks like, a little bit of unlocking here. Where's that at? Oh, that's going into turn 3, which is okay. That's right at this point. That's okay that we're getting unlocking there because it's mid-corner on a really tight turn. So if you didn't have unlocking on a really tight turn like that, you would have a little bit of understeer. I'm trying to get that car really turned in, so a little bit of unlocking is really kind of desirable there. Let's look at what the brake bias is after making that adjustment. I think we were getting a little bit of rear lock with it so far back. And yeah, you can totally see that right here. So let me adjust this so you guys can see. Okay. So you guys should be able to, well, I can't see it. Let's just make it a little smaller, I guess. Yeah, let's see. Is that all on the screen? Maybe a little bit more, huh? Okay, so you guys should be able to see it now. So now if we look at the real slip, so before we made the adjustment, you know, it was like, let's look at like right mid corner, about 13 up front, you know, 10, 13 up front, 6.4 on the back. Coming back now, it's 5.5 at the front and 6.78 on the rear. So now we're kind of going the opposite way. Now we have a little bit too much brake bias on that rear. It's going to cause a little bit of unlocking. I didn't really notice it too bad, so I think it's okay, but I am going to bump it up just 1 click. We went down 2 clicks. So we were pretty close. We went a little too far the other direction. But let's just go back up 1. And then let's see, that was brake bias, right? Where the hell is brake bias in this game? Okay, 54. So that should put us pretty close to where we want to be with the setup. And then let's just compare it to another lap just to make sure we weren't, you know, just braking really hard there. But yeah, we have it here too. 6.54 on the front, 8.28 on the back. We don't care about the front right because it's the inside tire, so it's going to lock up. So it's going to give you some ridiculous number. It's usually the outside corner that we're really interested in. But we got a fair amount of laps in for that. Let's look at the temperatures. See what's going on here. So pressures are kind of coming up. Again, we're just doing a lot of laps. But the cambers are still kind of off. Rear right is too high. Yeah, so the rear right, now that we've kind of been changing things, is a little bit too high. We want that to come down quite a bit to where the yellow lies. So we have about, temperature gradient of about 7 up front and about 5 on the back. That's pretty good. That rear right's a little bit too high. So let's keep bringing it down. So let's go down to, let's try like 2.2. We're going to go with a pretty drastic change. And Billy says, are all the values the same if you were in a different car? Say if you were an old DTM, would you aim for the same camber and pressure point on the chart? So that's a really good question. And it's a mixture of things. So the reason that we try to achieve a temperature gradient of 5 to 7 degrees is that means we're going to have plenty of headroom for when the car starts rolling. You got to think, when the car starts rolling, we're going to lose camber. So we want to have enough camber built into the setup so that it's not on the sidewall of the tire, because you're going to lose a lot of grip if you do that. So we add 7 degrees, meaning 7 degrees hotter on the inside than the outside, because as the car rolls, it'll get a little bit hotter on the outside. Now, how much of that temperature gradient profile is really dependent on 2 things: driver style and the track combination. Corners with a lot of really hard turns, like really windy, you're gonna want to go for the higher temperature gradient, because the car's gonna be rolling, which you need more camber to adjust for. For more like straights, like maybe Road America or Le Mans, you want a little bit less of a temperature gradient profile, because the majority of the time you're gonna be on the straights. If you increase camber, you're going to decrease your longitudinal performance sometimes, because you're changing the tire patch geometry. So you really want to kind of base that on the track combination. So for me, I've just done a lot of tracks. I know for Barcelona, I'm really going to shoot for about 7 degrees, maybe 5 degrees for Road America. But if you didn't know that and you weren't sure what numbers to shoot for, 7 degrees is always a pretty good one, really kind of middle of the road. But the more scientific way, and the way I really encourage people to do it, is look at your longitudinal acceleration. If you are, going through a track, and let's say the max longitudinal acceleration you're seeing, or the average acceleration you're seeing, is 1.5 G's, and then let's say you increase the camber all around, and then you do another lap, and now you're pulling 2 G's. What I say is keep going until it starts to decrease. And the reason why is the more lateral acceleration you can pull through a corner means the more speed you're pulling through the corner. More speed means less time. So in racing, there's always two kind of big things that we always use to do setups for. Number one is lap time. Lap time is king. It doesn't matter what we see in the data, what we do. If you make an adjustment and your lap time decreases, you're going the wrong way. And the second one is lateral acceleration. Lateral acceleration is pretty much the be-all, end-all for kind of car setup. And on the traction circle, it's one of the biggest things that we're trying to do is make that traction circle as wide as possible. Because, again, more lateral Gs means you're going faster through the corners. And if you are optimizing grip, you're going to make that thing wider. So that's kind of the whole goal. But we dropped that camber just a little bit. And the rear right, so it should drop it down quite a bit. One thing I would really like to see too is let's drop the aerodynamic down just a little bit. But before we do that, let's one second, scroll down. Hey, welcome to the stream, bud. So before we do that, we haven't been keeping up with the car parameters. That's because I haven't really been looking at any of the data that uses them. So anything that you're looking at, total wheels, or total wheel load, or component wheel load, or the lateral stiffness distribution, or the aero, will definitely need all the correct car parameters. Most of the other stuff doesn't use those things, so that's why I don't really keep up with it unless I have to. But let's see, forget which one. Which one did we have that was like dialed in? Was it this one? Okay, so let's save that to the. Oh, I already had it, but let's just save it again. And we should only have to be making a few adjustments, right? Because we've only changed a few things. But the first thing I know is I don't think we've changed the spring rate. We not changed the ride height. ARB is like perfectly fine. We have changed the ding. So we went up on the fast rebound to 6,400, which doesn't really matter. That is not really used in too much. And we did go up on this rear one quite a bit, so 1,700. Oop. And then 24.1. And again, this is going to estimate what our wheel loads are, so that's why it's so important to get these right. But let's do this. We're going to save it over it because it's the updated one. And let's go in the next car params. Let's just let's just look at it real quick. So in aero, let's go to downforce. And we're going to have some negative values here, and it's really not that big of a deal. I never look at downforce mid-corner for these like really slow corners. These high-speed corners, it's a little bit more important. But let's look at what our center pressure is coming down the straight. So center pressure, we really want it to be 5% of what the center of gravity is. In this Porsche GTE, it's a little bit farther back. I think it's like 53, 54%. So 5% would be 58. So our center pressure is almost perfect. One thing I do want to try is knocking down the aero. So we were at 2.7. So it's a 1-to-4 ratio. So let's go 1.4 on this aero. We're going to save it. One other thing too I want to check is the pitch and roll gradients. Just to see what we're at. We're at 0.5, which is a little bit high for a GT car. But I kind of like it high. For me, I can't drive a car that's really twitchy. You could go down to the 0.3 or 0.4, but 0.5 feels pretty good to me. So I'm not really going to make an overall stiffness increase there. But I was just curious what it was at, because the car does feel absolutely dialed in for me in that regard. But yeah, let's try with the aero, a little bit change here. Let's look at our rake. Rake coming down the straights is pretty much flat, 0 degrees, so that's pretty good. And then let's look at coming down this straight. Yeah, pretty much 0 degrees, so we don't really need to make a rate adjustment. I'm just going to decrease the downforce just a little bit, see what we're at, and then let's give her a go. We're going to drop down these pressures down just one click too. Its pressure was a little bit high that last run, and they were pretty much all consistent, but they were just all consistently high. One other thing I want to look at is the brakes. I'm looking to see somewhere between 60-50 between front and rear, meaning that they're cooling down the same rates, which they pretty much are, so not going to need much of an adjustment there. Always good to check though. If your brake temperatures are not in check, your pressure are going to skyrocket. 3-4 laps. And I'm thinking this is probably going to be our last setup adjustment, to be completely honest. So this is the corner I was trying to get the arrow for, because I wanted to see if less downforce would cause us to push out. It really isn't. And we'll probably pick up a few tenths on the straight. So I think that was a good call to go a little bit less downforce. 2.7 is pretty high in Project Cars 2. That's the thing. Project Cars 2 is pretty rewarding when you get this set up right, I must say. I'm kind of curious what the screen bias is. I probably should have checked that now that everything's dialed in. A little bit of unlocking there. I was really heavy into the braking zone there. Rear left tire right now is getting a little bit hot, I think. It's not too bad. Let's see. Right around 215. Why is this in Fahrenheit? Should be in, it's okay though. It's not red yet, so. I need to watch what I'm doing. Looking at the tire wear, we're at 3% front left, 3% rear left. So tire wear is looking really spot on for like a long endurance race. You'd really want to make sure that your tire wear is even front and rear, otherwise your balance is going to be changing too.
Awesome in the first sector. That's your best split so far.
Man, this car is so easy to drive. I literally drive it all day here. I'm thinking we're gonna do a little short race after this. What do you guys think? Man, they're so stringent on track limits. It's crazy. So we're getting a little bit of more wear on the rear, and we're getting a little bit more temperature in that rear left. We might want to take a peek at it, but I'm not. Right now, I'm okay with it. So I just did a 43.5.
Brilliant first sector. That's your best so far.
A little loose there, not too bad though. Down on my delta right now. 1 second. Alright, let me finish this lap, guys. We'll take a look at the data and see if moving the arrow is okay. I don't think it really caused too much issues though, because car feels really good still. Not getting too much drift or anything like that. It's not like we're sliding more, so. Rear right tire pressure a little bit on the low side, but it's not too bad. Alright, another 43. Alright, let's look at the data, and I gotta answer my wife, so just 1 second, guys. Alright guys, sorry about that. Wife just got home. Okay, so car felt really good there. Let's just make sure that the less downforce didn't mess too much with our damper histograms. We're probably going to have a little bit of a difference. Again, changing the downforce is going to kind of affect certain things of the car. But overall, car still looks really good. Our dampers are pretty grouped up through there. Let's check the aero balance though. Kind of curious what our center of pressure is after that. Yeah, center pressure still looks fine. All right, let's look at the handling tab. I'm kind of curious what the lateral stiffness distribution is. Here at one of these corners. Let's make sure. Something doesn't look right through there. Must not have something set up right. Let's see what's a better one. Yeah, normally we'd be looking at this, but I think something might not be set up right. Might be the ride heights. Let's see. Let's go to arrow. Ride height. Let's see what it is. Totally might just have them like dialed in wrong. I think I'm gonna increase the front spring just 1 click. Help with that tire temperature. The balance feels really good. But the tire temperature is getting a little bit high on the rear left, and the tire wear was a little bit higher with 1 click. It's like a little bit higher than the rear left. Let's see what the temps is doing now. Run. So that rear left camber is like perfect. It dropped down quite a bit. The rear right, sorry. The rear left is still like right around 5. Which is okay. I don't want it, too high, so that's perfectly fine. But yeah, car looks really good, feels really good. So we're probably going to end it right there. That'll be the end of this work, but let's go ahead and just do like a 20-minute race just to enjoy the setup, kind of give you guys something kind of cool to watch. And then let's set the AI to like 102 because I felt really good in this car. Make sure crew chief is on, which is not.
Radio check.
All right, we got Project Cars 2 on. Let's do time progression. We're gonna do like a 20-minute race. So that's like 20 hours. So let's try that, and let's give her a go. Hope you guys are enjoying this channel. If you guys aren't following me yet, be sure to hit me with the follow or subscribe. And again, we're going to be doing these videos more often for different cars, different tracks, different sims. So be sure to check it out. A lot of good information. I'll try to, explain what I'm thinking or address any of you guys' questions as much as possible. But let's give it a go. So we just want to make sure we have enough fuel in this car. So yeah, let's just, I'm not sure how many laps. Oh yeah, we'll not do this many laps, probably 50 liters. Right. Well, let's just see how many liters are we doing before. This is why I did this. It's a little less. We'll just round it to a 2-minute lap. So if we're doing 20 minutes, 20 laps, or 10, like let's do 11 laps actually. We need like 26 it says. So let's go up to oh, hey, what's up, Grant? Hey, thanks, bud. Yeah, I love Wall and David. I actually do private like coaching lessons with him. Really good guy. But yeah, let's do, it says we need we're doing 12 laps. We rounded it. We're doing really conservative. So let's just put 30 liters in there. All right, 30 liters should be more than enough for this. So then, yeah. All right. All right, let's get her a go, guys. Love being able to see wheel spin on my dash. I don't know if you guys can see it, my dash. We're building this with RST right now. We're going to be selling them in the future. But really cool thing to have if you are interested in it. A little bit slow here. Alright, I'm not sure what position we're in with some other GT cars here. We're going to let him kind of go by so we get this outside lane. Have the AI at 102, which with this setup might be a little too low still. This car is absolutely dialed in right now. Taking this inside. Yeah, I love David. 1 second, Technology EP. Let me get on the straight back here and then I'll read. So Technology EP says, Sally, I won't be able to watch the race. It's 1 o'clock in the morning already. Going to bed to have a good one. Keep it up with a good work. Thanks, well. Yeah, Technology, have a good night, man. Thanks for tuning in. Really appreciate you guys, joining in and talking in the chat. Really makes these things really fun to reach out to you guys. But yeah, a lot of good videos to come. Should have been in second gear for that. And this DP and that GT car battling. If that was real life, that guy would be so pissed. Hopefully the stream isn't too bad quality. I'm getting like 58 frames per second. So hopefully it's not a slideshow. Ooh, a little deep there. Yeah, but the damage turned off, so I guess it doesn't matter. But oh, totally lost it there. I think I hit that bump that I was talking to you guys about before the setup. Let's see if we can work our way back. Need to get a little bit more focus through here. one second, Billy. Let me get on the back straight and I'll read your comment. It's hard to read these long comments on the turns here. So Billy said it would be probably good to do a stream or video that explains how to find that piece of information. Outlook if you look at the lateral load. Yeah, I can totally do that, bud. Yeah, I'll try to respond to you guys' comments and address these things that you guys are talking about in future videos. So I really appreciate the feedback. And then Grant, that is looking awesome too. Are you designing it to fit thrust? Yep. Yeah, we're gonna have a bunch of different adapters to connect to your wheel. So I actually have the Thrustmaster TSPC, which it fits, but we can easily do it for Fanatics and other bases too. All right, we're making our way back to the pack here. Guarantee we're pulling faster lap times than the AI right now.
That is your fastest first sector time. Keep it up.
Yeah, when you get in the flow, this thing is just absolutely dialed in. Oh, no, you're fine, Billy. Yeah, I like the comments. I'm just, you know, some of those streamers are so good. Like Jimmy, he can read the comments like mid-corner in the chicane, you know? I'm just not that good, so I just gotta wait till it's straight. All right, we're working our way back, boys. A little too deep there. Trying to look at the string to see how choppy it is. It's a little bit less performance, but hopefully it's
Just at your own personal best lap. Keep it up.
all right, personal best, baby. Devin making time up here too, so that was deep. I was really on the brakes there. Unlocking the heavy
Okay,
brakes,
mate, you're
so
on
it's
his
gonna
tail.
loop the
Let's
brake
try and
outside
nail him
this
on this
one,
lap.
so-
Force and error. He's under big pressure. You can take it.
I love that Ford GT. One of my favorite cars. Alright, let's find a way around them. Trying to do a V corner here. Get on that throttle nice and early. The car truck out. Trying to get on that throttle nice and early for that corner so you can have a really good run through here. Trying to get a draft. Side by side, turn two. Got to bail out a little bit loose there. Yeah, no doubt. It's easy to do in Project Cars 2 with the AI because they're kind of unpredictable. So I kind of give them a little more space than I would like ACC AI or Raceroom AI, but they're not horrible. Better than online, I think. Alright, this guy's kind of holding us up just a little bit. See if we can, something to do around the outside here. Cut back through. Try to put it on the inside here. Nice. We're gonna go deep here. I think we got it done. I don't see him, but little contact there, not too bad. I don't know why. Yeah, this is the 911 RSR GTE car, JT. It is mucho good with this setup. I will be sure to put the setup in the Discord chat. So if you're not in the Discord, be sure to join up so that way you can guys try it out. Man, look at that turn 1 exit speed over these guys. Man, in dirty air, it gets a little bit loose. You can tell it's that bump that I was talking to you guys about, the high speed tuning too. Alright, we're too far back to make that inside move. Oh, we got the run here though, boys. We're going side by side.
10 minutes remaining.
He backed out. He was scared.
Okay, mate, be patient now. You will force an error, so let's just wait for him to make a mistake.
Woo! This is fun. Man, I'm really starting to feel that less downforce now. It's okay in clean air, but in dirty air it can get a little bit hairy. Very predictable, but it's definitely on the edge. Trying to give him enough room. It's a pretty good battle. Yeah, I've actually been doing lessons with David on this track, and if you guys are looking for coaching, like sim coaching, definitely check out David. Super awesome dude. Man, we gotta find a way around this Corvette. Definitely kind of holding us up, I think. took a little bit of
7
different line
minutes
there.
remaining.
Lost a little bit of time. Woo, that was a good run. Love this new Thrustmaster wheel I got. It's such a big upgrade from what I had before. You can really feel a lot of detail. So David Perel, he's actually a real life driver. Drives the GT3 488 and some of the block pan like endurance races and stuff. But he loves sim racing. He actually does lessons, and he's a really good guy.
Great move.
Really giving back to the sim community, which I think is really cool. All right, we found a way. Yeah, I just started doing, I think I've done my third lesson with him, second or third, and I've always learned something. He's just really good about the fundamentals, which is really cool. A little over slow there. Let's see if we can catch back up. I think we're not sure what position we're in though. Yeah, see, the car feels perfectly fine there in non-draft situations. It's just the dirty air. It's a little bit hairy. Probably just one more click on the rear wing, but not sure what the delta is here. We're leaving the guys behind us though. Looks like I saw a car up here, so hopefully and then 1 second, guys. I just realized something. My motion rig's not on. And that is not cool. Should be on. Uh-oh. What's going on? Let's see.